Hello everyone, I'm here with Amar Singh. It's a great honor to meet you, Amar. We tried to get you into Brazil last year, but unfortunately didn't happen. But here you go. We are here to pass a very good message because I know that you have a kind of a exceptional content to be demonstrated as well on the cyber crisis. So for example, how do we handle incident? And also taking the note, Amar, and welcome you to our kind of a talk. I saw something very interesting from your notes, I think yesterday or a day before, about a note to the CEO, CFO, board, and senior management. I think they believe that we have a CISO that is a superhero, and actually, we are humans, and we cannot, take everything and be 100% secure because it's something that doesn't exist, isn't it?
Obrigado, as they say. That's the only word I can speak, but obrigado. Yes, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Rafael. Thank you for having me. The note I put on LinkedIn, I think it's gone viral. It's got over 900 or more likes in less than one day. And to me, it was a note to the CEO, the board, the senior executive management, who wrongly, in my opinion, many of them wrongly expect magic, right? It's not their fault. If you don't understand something, you expect it to work. For example, if we don't understand how plane engines work, we get very angry when there is a fault. And we just expect planes to fly, right? But if you are technical and you know how any engine will work, you are sympathetic, to the fact that a plane can have an engine fault. Luckily, as long as it's on the ground, it has an engine fault, and everyone is, So similar to cyber, I think many people don't understand. They expect, somebody working in the cupboard and some wires being put together and everything to be 100% secure. And my note in the LinkedIn post was basically to say, there is no 100% security. The CEO, the board, the executive must ask, are we prepared for a cyber attack? Are we cyber resilient? The World Economic Forum, WEF, they use the word cyber resilient, not cyber security. So it's a message to everybody listening in. Change a little bit of the word, ask for cyber resilience rather than cyber security.
Yeah, it's interesting that you are saying, because I think my next question to you is, how do we prepare a company for be ready for a breach? Because we know, in fact, it's not the question if, right? Is when. And this is a very famous quote that we received, if I'm not wrong, by the FBI director. So my question is when how do we prepare that company or even the management? Because I think there is a different aspects when we're going to get breached, right? From the executive side versus the technical side, and how we handle that. Because I think it's not just a question to have the team there operating on the SOC, on the scene, monitoring everything. And even though if it happened, then what?
Very good question. Cyber Management Alliance, my company, I am the CEO. We actually have a unique UK government national cybersecurity certified training in cyber incident planning and response. Now, why is this very important? It's a non-technical training. Actually, it's for management, middle management, project managers, BCP managers. Why is this very important? Because every organization, Rafael, hear me out, okay? Everybody, please listen. Every organization is doing detection and response. Example, if today the daily newspaper tells you you have a cyber attack, you're going to respond, correct?
Exactly right.
So the problem is most organizations are not doing it correctly. Now, one more thing, very important point to bring to everybody's attention. They must stop thinking real-time detection is possible. They must stop thinking that, because this is the fundamental root cause, as they say, root cause of why organizations are always fighting after firefighting, as they say. In English, they say firefighting, right? Why? Because everybody thinks, including CEO, technical, everybody is thinking that real-time detection of advanced cyber criminals is happening on organization network. It is not, because the advanced cyber attacker is not operating in real time. They are advanced. They take their time. They take months to prepare. They take months inside your house, your digital house, your organization. So instead of focusing on real time, CEO, CFO, executive management, they must say we want to focus on rapid detection and rapid response. Then it becomes reality, because you can start to buy the technology, train your people, the process, plan, procedure. You are thinking about rapid detection and rapid, not real time. Real time means the minute it's going to happen, you're going to catch the advanced nation state criminal. Let's be honest, you and I know this well enough. That is never going to happen.
That's true.
Right? And this is the problem, because the CEO, the executive, imagine the CFO, the chief financial officer. He's giving you $1 million and tomorrow you get hacked, right? It's not the CFO, he or she is not going to be happy. So we have to make them, first of all, think, are we prepared to rapidly detect and respond? And our CIPR course, we run it internally. We get massive participation from CEO, middle management, because in my post, cyber is a business risk. I think everybody agrees, but actually they must acknowledge. Agreeing is different, but when you acknowledge something, you believe that cyber is no longer, you cannot blame the IT guy or girl. Fix it. It's not about fixing it. It is about planning.
Yeah, I think, Amar,
Yeah.
many of our organizations tend to understand that actually cyber is IT is the same thing. And I think that is a misperception to understand that actually is not. And then that's the kind of a concern from the company is the fundamental having a CISO to manage, right, the communication between management and technical people from the IT side, because it's completely different word on the cyber side, right? So I think we have to understand that it's completely different words here.
Absolutely. And CISO, I think the title is wrong. Let's be honest. It's actually Chief Information Assurance Officer. Assurance is very important, because as senior executive, CEO, they want to know, is my business prepared? And when you say CISO, I mean, we have a lot of fun. We say Chief Blame Officer, right? It's not about blame. It's not about fixing the wires. It's about, can the whole plane fly and land safely? And remember, the pilot, look at this, right? The pilot, the CEO, for, if I may, and the co-pilot may be the CISO, for example, but the CEO is the pilot. And if you think about when the plane flies and lands, in between there's a lot of turbulence. And that may be a cyber attack, for example. But they are ready for the turbulence. They are ready to drop 10,000 feet and recover. That same logic thinking must be in the business.
They are very
Today,
resilient,
the business
right?
is thinking.
They are very resilient in order to, when there is a crisis, in order to handle and take the company outside of the crisis, right? So that's why it's important to have that vision as well.
Absolutely. And the way the pilots do it, they have to test, muscle memory. Now, we do a lot of tabletop exercises for organizations. Why? Because if you don't have muscle memory, the pilot, because of the pandemic, the pilots are not flying. But before they can fly the real plane, they have to go back into muscle memory. They have to do several hours of retraining. Same we should do in cyber, not every day, obviously, but the CEO, CFO, the IT, the CISO, everybody should do muscle memory exercise, whether once in 1 month, 6 months, etc., so that, as you are saying, that they are ready
for
the flight. They're ready for the journey.
Yeah, it's a very good topic that you just mentioned. Now, for example, in UK, we know that we have the fire test, right? So every month or every 2 months, we have the fire test that we have to go out and do all the kind of assessment on that. But on the cyber, I don't think so. We are on the same maturity level because they don't see, right? So, and then what I cannot see, so I know I don't fear what is the consequences of it, right? So it's kind of a different perception, right? But it's the same kind of a principle if we think about it.
Absolutely, and it is so important to be able to practice, because as you know what happens in a crisis, first thing that people do is panic. And I put my hands up, although I practice a lot, there is always a little bit of panic. And what happens in panic? You make mistake, you forget, I mean, the example of the person, the Sully who landed the plane on the Hudson River, very experienced, but he still took a few seconds to look at the checklist, whether he was doing some things correct. So practice, and pilots are a very good example. Practice, very important. Otherwise, the journey is going to be very dangerous if something goes wrong. So CEO all the way down, they must practice and make sure they're ready for the cyber attack.
Amar, one quick point for us to finalize the last question here, but I understand, for example, the CEO that hasn't been breached is a person versus the CEO that just has, happened to be breached. This completely different person, because I think the situation is maybe, I'm not saying that they should invest more because there is no, enough, right? Even if we have unlimited budget, the question is not only money to protect us. So, but I also understand the consequences for not being ready for a crisis also can turn, it's like a fire, right? So as soon you act, as better your company will be able to handle the crisis. In taking that direction is, what do you see from your experience from these two different CEOs? One that has kind of take the kind of approach of understanding versus the one that hasn't or just kind of didn't have time to look into that aspect in terms of when there is a kind of a breach happening in the company.
Wow, how much time do we have? Long, very good question, very long answer. I'll give a short answer. And maybe this, anybody listening, they should ask one question, and we are happy to help them. We do. What is our breach readiness maturity? That's all a CEO needs to ask. Okay, so
Fantastic.
even if they believe they're not going to be attacked, or they believe, they've just come out through a lot of turbulence, right? Doesn't matter. But the question they should ask is my organization breach ready? And what is the maturity? And we are very experienced because we've done this for so many organizations. It's very interesting. Actually, many organizations are very good, but the breach readiness maturity assessment allows the CEO organization to go, these are the gaps. This is what we need to do. And you know what? It might be very good. So regardless of they have been through an attack or not, the CEO, CFO, executive board should say, what is our breach readiness maturity? Not ISO, not PCI, not any other thing. Simple question, which we can easily help answer. It's an assessment, but the question is, what is my breach readiness maturity?
Fantastic. Amar, thank you very much for your time and your help in order to promote awareness on cybersecurity.
Obrigado, as I'll say again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.